your Kaizoku of Anime AJ. Welcome, Productioneers. This is my special VTuber guest, Ellerine Peridot.
Peridot. Of course, I have the most complicated pronunciations. Of course. But yes, it
Right.
is Ellerine Peridot. Oh, hello, Ronald. Hello, Fat and Furious. Welcome. Welcome to the chat. This is something a little bit different. We're doing some just chatting. I know I normally don't do this, but one Kaizoku reached out and was kind enough to ask me if I wanted to collab, and I thought it would be fun. Oh, I've been good, Ronald. How have you been? Kaizoku, you there?
Yes, I
Oh,
am.
okay.
I was pleasantly listening. It was like being on your channel when you're reading or doing your ASMR. I was
Oh,
just
yes.
like, I kind of got a little distracted. I was like, wait, yes, we're live.
Yes.
Oh crap!
Yes, we are live.
I thought I had enough time though to get your
Oh,
avatar put up for my
oh,
channel.
oops,
I've
sorry.
got our conversation already going. So yeah, as a VTuber, I'm a fan of fandoms and such. So we were talking about what was it? Yeah, what kind of VTubers we like and what kind of VTuber we want to be or that we're setting out to be. And as I mentioned a bit ago, you're the kind of VTuber, the only one I know of right now who has, who specifically chose to be associated as an ASMR VTuber. And I thought that was just really cool. And then you also do the book readings, and I was like, that's even cooler.
I do, thank you. Yes. Oh, oh, okay, Ronald. Ronald just said, I will be back, have to get back to work, sadly. That's all right. Have a good rest of your day at work. But yes, personally, from my personal experience, what got me started as a VTuber was I decided to do a 2023 bingo card of just random things I wanted to do. And I said to myself, what if I did something completely different and decided and be a VTuber? And lo and behold, 9 months later, here we are.
Right?
Uh, there were lots of other things on the bingo card. I don't think I have it saved anywhere anymore, though, unfortunately.
Oh,
I know, I know. Oh, but yes, like with the book reading, I thought it would be something kind of different and something as in a very lazy way of knocking out two birds with one stone of books that I've been meaning to read or been wanting to read again. And I thought it would be fun to just do streams where I read them instead. Oh, hydration check. I've got my water
yeah.
bottle here. Thank you. You better have yours ready.
Oh, I've got my hydration ready. Yar, got me grog.
Grog isn't water.
No, you're right. I've got a glass waiting in the fridge. Oh, Ronnie's there. What, bro?
Yeah.
Bro.
Betrayal.
Whoa, bro. You're over here. I was wondering when you were gonna show up over on what? What?
He did say.
Whoa, bro.
These.
Thanks for being here.
Whoa.
I'm glad. No, I am. It was really cool though that your channel has grown. It's been impressive to see you since we first met
I've been.
as VTubers per se.
It's a little unreal. I'll be honest. It's a little unreal how much it's grown. I
Right?
I started on March 18th. That was my first day of streaming. And then May 18th, I hit affiliate, which completely blew my mind.
Oh yeah, I remember that when you had
I,
I was like, that was pretty.
I
That's
know.
impressive.
I was shocked. I was so shocked. I was rated by Nasu Aisuru. She also does ASMR, but of a little more risque variety. But she
Ooh,
is really funny.
right. I think Fifi's funny too sometimes.
Oh yeah. But Nasu's really wonderful. She's super funny. She's on Twitter, so and on Twitch obviously, so go follow her because she's delightful. And I believe she's actually getting a new model soon, is what she said.
Oh,
So that is very exciting.
yeah.
What about you, Kaizoku?
What am I?
What about you? Sorry. How did you get started?
Oh, it was quintessentially through the whole when the craze for VTubers was essentially at its peak in 2020. Uh, who was it? I also just it was Mori Calliope. That's right, because I also tweeted about
Oh.
it, but it didn't get very popular. Mori Calliope was the one who basically said, you know, along the lines, my interpretation was hit the ground running. Just
Oh
go
yes.
ahead. When it comes to content creation, just
Just do it.
start streaming. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh, so it's like swimming. I just dove in,
Yeah, just do it.
right? So I have Mikazokuo has not had his official debut yet. He is officially pre-debut.
Dare I
So
ask,
I just
have you found someone to do your model yet?
not yet,
Oh,
not yet. There's a little anxiety to it as well. So
that's
it's
fair.
just like uh, I will once I feel financially comfortable. That's when
Oh
I
yes.
will reach out to who I decide.
Absolutely fair.
Right. Yeah, it was Hosho Marine. So it was basically Hololive that inspired
Okay.
me. Yep.
What
It
got you to
was
decide on your Kaizokuo persona?
well, the pirate theme was because of Hosho Marine, and of course, in real life, I'm a pirate essentially. I used to be a sailor.
Oh, wow. How long were you a sailor for?
2 years.
Okay.
Yep.
How was that time of your life?
Uh,
You don't have to go
it
into it
was a
if you don't want to.
it was a challenge. I'll say that. Uh, but yeah, okay. So my favorite, I liked Hosho Marine's design, and then the because all that I got back into my anime music video editing,
Okay.
and I was like, oh, okay, I already have. So that's how I put it together. I was like, oh yeah, be a pirate.
Well, pirate is an excellent theme.
Yes,
Oh,
and of
hello,
course,
Tasiasin. Hello. I'm having a good day. Hope you are too.
ahoy. Uh, what was it? Yeah, so got back into that. Being a so it was yeah, Ronald Dragon's brother Stefan. He was the one who figured it out that there was the connection was also because of One Piece.
Oh, okay.
That's where I go by Kaizokuo because that was what Goldie Roger was,
Mm-hmm.
a pirate king.
Oh, nothing is too much new with me, Tasty Sin. Thank you, though. Thank you for asking. Just having a good conversation. But I do know that your content mostly is games, and I know you do karaoke. What other
Yeah,
things would you
that's
like to do as well?
a lot,
If you could branch
especially a
out.
lot
Yeah.
more, especially a lot more collabs. I want to try and do more of the book reading
Oh,
style, like
yes.
you did. Yeah, because I did one stream was to George Orwell's Animal Farm. I was able
Oh,
to read
wow.
that in 4. I was able to read that in 4 hours, so that was a really fun stream.
I would think so.
Yeah,
It's
and I
been a long
used it
time since I've read
as
that.
yeah, I used it as a way to try and practice voice acting, changing my voice.
Okay. I think that's an excellent way to go about it, honestly.
Yeah, it was fun. I have seen that you also play video games.
Yes.
You're a bit of the Devil May Cry fangirl, eh, my queen?
If you know anything about me, I believe I sent you. I believe I sent you the meme. Uh, my playthrough
Yeah, I saw the names.
just became the Queen simps for Dante for 4 hours straight. What can I say? He's charming.
Right. Well, I mean, at least there is a Queen of the Sims because I've had Ruby King. He's a compatriot between me and Ronald Dragon over on
Okay.
YouTube, and he's called. Me and him have joked about being kings of Sims because he
I
is
mean, that's
also
fair.
a fanboy of certain female game characters and such. So it's a fun little way of ribbing each other.
That's totally fair.
So it was pretty cool to see. I'm like, oh yeah, she's the queen. When I saw your memes, I was like, yeah, yep, mm-hmm. Makes sense. Yeah.
And if I ever play Baldur's Gate 3 on stream, you know who I'm simping for.
Yes, I think I
Surely.
saw it on. I think I saw it on Twitter.
Surely you know.
Right.
It is, of course, the Vampire Man. It is, of course, Astarion.
Makes
His
sense
voice
to
actor
me.
just does such an incredible job. I've heard voice clips where he's just yelling at the player character, and it is so funny because he sounds so indignant.
Yeah.
He calls the group a bunch of weirdos at one point.
That's Baldur's Gate 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm not. What was it? It was Baldur's Gate. There's been a lot of talk about Baldur's Gate Starfield.
Mm-hmm.
That's been. I'm like, yeah, that's not why I'm on Twitter.
That's fair.
Yep.
My sister was actually kind enough to gift me Baldur's Gate 3.
Yes, I did see your posts about
It
it
was so funny.
because again, Baldur's Gate 3 is trending everywhere, and you were talking about it, and then I was like, I saw that post, and then the next one was, oh yeah, my sister got. I'm like, nasty, shall we see?
I was talking to her about it, and she asked me if I was going to be playing it, and I said that on stream I was going to be playing Baldur's Gate 1, and she was, dare I say, almost offended because Baldur's Gate 3 was out.
Right.
But I haven't finished 1 yet, and I like the characters in 1, and I just want to finish it, and I want to do the save import to Baldur's Gate 2, which is also excellent.
Yeah,
But
it's been
no,
a while
apparently
since
not.
I last heard of a Baldur's Gate game. So
Mm-hmm.
when this one started trending all over Twitter and Reddit, I was like, "What? There's a new? Oh, okay,
Oh yes,
interesting."
I was very excited to see spoilers, kind of, I guess. Later
Mm-hmm.
on, two of the characters from Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 return. I was very excited for those because they're two of my absolute favorites.
Right. I remember when the first two games came out because it's been
Mm-hmm.
such a long time, but I never played them, and it was just really interesting how popular each one was when
Oh
it came
yes.
out. There was so much talk about them.
Mm-hmm. I think I started with Baldur's Gate 1 and then just kind of fell off because, my goodness, the Queen was very young then when that game came out. Let me see. I'm sure I didn't play it right as it came out because that was a while ago.
Right.
Let's see.
I mean, your Kazoku can barely remember 500 years.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. The original Baldur's Gate came out in 1998.
Yeah, that's a long time.
The Queen would have been 10 years old at that point.
Right?
So I definitely did not play it at that point.
I know I mentioned it to you before the stream. Even Danny and the Game Grumps
Mm-hmm.
was talking about, oh yeah, the 90s was only, he was talking about Aaron, telling Aaron about, like they were talking about time. They were talking about how long it's been since the 80s.
Oh yeah.
And then he was like, yeah, I mean, even the late 80s was only, 89 was only 32 years ago. I'm like,
It's like
he's kind of
only.
about, the 90s were only 30 years ago. It's like, oh,
Oh, it's
yeah,
oh goodness.
I
Yeah, it's a
love them
little.
boys.
I feel like a lot of times I just feel like I'm sort of mentally stuck in like 2007. So like I hear of like oh high school. It's like oh yeah you're like a freshman in high school aren't you? It's like no you're 22 years old now. It's like I don't know why. It was probably just a very weird time in my life.
Right?
And like hearing of like people who are born in like the 90s. It's like oh you're a tiny baby. No, oh no you're not. You're 30.
Oh, are you, oh, okay. Yeah. And
Were you
I know
born in
what
the
it's like.
90s?
Oh, your Kaizoku isn't gonna.
Oh
No, your Kaizoku was 500 in McQueen.
oh
Oh, wait, I only got one eye.
oh.
Uh, I did. I think that's. I do. That was one thing I thought was kind of just hilarious with some of VTubers
Mm-hmm.
when the craze was at its height. You know, there's jokes about ages, and it's like, it's like Hosho Marine. You know, they joke about her being like a middle-aged woman,
Oh yes.
and then Gargura mentioned, you know, says like she's 9,000 or whatever, and but you know,
Like
talking
sure.
about going to the airport and being spoken to like a little
Yep.
child because she's so short.
Yep.
And I'm just, as a fan of fandoms, I loved all the little cute animations that these animators on YouTube and stuff put out. It's just like, wow, you put a lot of time and effort to making something so lovable and
Oh,
adorable
abs-
almost.
absolutely.
Yeah.
There was a
You know,
there was
seeing so much creative
mm-hmm.
force out there. Well, not force, but just creative innovation.
Oh yes,
You know,
lots of talent.
that level of creative. Yes,
So many
it's
talented
kind of a
people out there.
beautiful. Yes, it's a beautiful thing to see.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like I finally got some visitors. Hey,
Oh.
Ronald Dragon, if you're still on Elarine's channel, guess who's on my channel? My boy, Ruby King. He chose to come say hi to me. Whoa, yeah, see?
Oh.
Yeah. We know who the, yeah, looks like, yeah, we know. Looks Ronnie was sipping for the queen and Ruby King to sip for me. I feel better now.
Well, good.
Ruby King, my fair queen, is asking, who's the new lady? Well, me friend, this is Queen Ellarine Peridot.
Shall I introduce myself?
Go ahead.
Hold on one second. Do I have all of my
You're already live.
I know. I was trying to see if I had written down all of my titles. I have many.
Oh yeah, yes, I forgot. Please.
I have a
memory.
few. I need let's see. I'm Queen Ellarine Peridot, Queen of the Elves, the Turning of the Seasons, and Grand Patroness to the Grand Royal Library. I have more, but I can't think of them right now. And
Thank you.
the reason why I am the Turning of the Seasons, I shall demonstrate. As you can see, I am currently in my autumn colors, but I also have, let's see, oops, gotta change, nope, wrong one, winter. I have too many buttons, sorry. And then I have spring. And then I have summer. So I change with the seasons.
I remember when you just had the two.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the idea was really cool.
Thank you. I can't exactly tell you where the idea came from. There we go. Back to autumn. Since I'm going to be gone for most of the month of October, I thought I would, quote, debut, I guess, my autumn model or coloration a little early.
So yeah, that's right. You were, I think, you had mentioned when I started following your channel here on Twitch that that you would be going away for a bit later this year.
I am going on vacation to Iceland.
Oh yeah.
So I'm very excited.
Nice.
And I'll be gone for 3 weeks. So do not expect any streams.
Right, good. I mean, just that's what a vacation is. I bet it's going to be really cool to go to Iceland.
Oh yes.
Yeah, really cool.
Little bit of personal information. I am planning on getting a tattoo over there.
Oh.
It is Warcraft, yes.
Nice.
It's only been
you
a part.
Finally say you went to Northrend, huh?
I don't think it's as cold as Northrend. At least not Ice Crown, but
right.
Who would want to go to Ice Crown? Honestly. No, thank you.
That was
you will see me in the Howling Fjords.
Right.
As well as the Grizzly Hills.
That was actually some of the last parts of Northrend that I visited when I used to play World of Warcraft.
Oh really?
That in fact when I was there when Lich King got released. I was like, oh, this is fun. Yeah.
Oh, that was back in 2008.
Yep.
My goodness.
Yep.
I'm still playing.
I got into Warcraft in 2007.
Mm-hmm.
And of course I just love how things circle around and come back together. I got into the game because of South Park, and that's what I like about Danny on Game Girls is that he's always making South Park references, and some of I kind of laugh because Aaron doesn't follow sometimes, but lately over the years, when Danny does make references to South Park or does something, Aaron's there with them now, and I'm like, I noticed it in the recent Zelda streams they're doing. I'm like, I'm sorry, not streams, but uploads. I'm like, oh man, Aaron's catching on finally.
At last.
What happens when two buds are streaming together for 10 years?
At last, he's learning.
Yes. Yeah, that's you can. I mean, speaking of old stuff, because again,
itchy eye. Sorry.
2008.
Yes.
Yep.
My eye was itching. I apologize.
Oh, okay.
Yes. I'm sorry. Continue.
No problem. Speaking of 2008 old, what was it? I was there. I was one of the early fans when Game Grumps first started. So,
oh, really?
I like having Danny now. You go back, everything's been so awesome.
Mm-hmm. As I was telling Kaizokuo earlier, it has been a very long time since I've watched the Game Grumps. There's still some clips I go back to, such as the legendary death that Aaron had while playing Breath of the Wild, when shooting a bomb arrow and accidentally hitting something in front of him, killing him immediately and making him fall. I always think back to that one. It's because Dan is just so just so disappointed.
Right, and I'll admit that so there have been times when I fell out for a bit. Like I think one of the longest periods was maybe 2 years, and then there was like so much I had missed, but was able to catch up through here and there. Like especially with the Grumpalations and the Game Grumps animated. That's really, I was in the Game Grumps animated before all those VTuber fans started pumping out their animations. A lot of them though have been copied over from Twitter too. A lot of the early stuff was on Twitter at first.
Okay.
So being able to see and maybe Pixiv, like there's been so many places where a lot of like VTuber fandom animations You can find a lot of them on YouTube, but a lot of them, some of the earliest stuff from way back when the trend, first took off,
Okay.
skyrocketed.
Yeah.
A lot of it was early stuff was across multiple different platforms before you started finding or seeing a lot of these artists,
Mm-hmm.
creators, and even VTubers. Eventually, now they're all using all of them instead of just a single one. So
Oh yes.
it's basically made it easier for their content to get out to more people to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I know I have a playlist of basically all the as many of the Game Grump animations and even Whole Live animations I found in a single playlist.
Okay.
Yeah,
You'll have to send me
because
some.
yeah, I will have to.
Please
It's
do.
been so long since I started it that some of the videos are no longer available.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I should probably go through it. I think it's maybe 5,000 videos
Oh goodness.
now. Right. Well, that's what
It's so
happens
many.
when a lot of these cute animations, are just basically, uh, you know, 1 minute or 5 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Let's see.
Absolutely.
Who's one of my favorites? Let me double check my list here. It's right there. They do a lot of the who was Kobo from Hawaii. Do you know Kobo?
I think so.
Can't
I
remember which country is it. I think it might be Indonesia. I could be mistaken, but her character is associated with water, and she looks very young. So when she's like with Mori Calliope and uh, Kiara, they joke about her being their child and such, and she kind of acts like it. Uh, I guess she has. Maybe she has what you mentioned earlier, gremlin energy.
Gremlin energy.
Yeah,
Probably yeah.
but the way that some of the fans like, there's this one animator who had like I can find all of, and they do it with subtitles too, and it's just so cute. It's like watching an anime, and it's just Kobo, like they because this is not how they're actually presented when they're doing the live streams, but the artists are taking the audio and they're animating it. It's just like it's an adorable art style that they're using for it, and the way Kobo was in a few of them, I was like, that's pretty funny, and it's a good way to help, uh, promote their favorites content creators.
Oh,
So it's,
absolutely.
I really enjoy. I'm a fan of fans.
Mm-hmm.
They're they're very. A lot of people are talented out
Oh yes. So many of them are so creative and just so talented with everything.
there. Yes, in fact, let's see. She was. I'm maybe you're familiar with what her previous character was. I'm sure that Ruby King is familiar with the character named Henya. Henya the
Oh yeah.
Genius. She's on
Yes.
she's a Shoujo VTuber.
Yes.
I
Yes.
believe
Yes,
she
I know
was
her.
what's Pikami,
Uh,
which is
Pigamy.
basically that's
Yes, I believe she was Pigamy, I think.
yes.
Pigamy? One of those.
Okay, good. I'm not going crazy.
Yeah.
Good. It's the same animator I was talking about who did videos of Kobo. Whoever this animator was, they also did drawings of Henya, and it's just, and the way Henya is, it was a video with Henya and Kason and another VTuber, and the way the artist animated them was just so, it was funny, especially the way they were all talking. I was just like, it's just like the creativity, and then the fact that the VTubers themselves, from because the audio it was audio from
Oh
the
yeah.
live stream collabs. I was just
Absolutely.
like, man, that's just so awesome that they're having fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I keep follow. That's how I'm able to follow and find new VTubers. I don't get to watch all of them, but I go back and see what I can.
We do our best.
Right?
It's so hard, especially when like some of them stream at the exact same time as as the others. So it's hard to I was talking to one of my other friends for a little bit, Perky, and he said that one of the other another day he would have joined my stream for a little bit, but all of his other friends decided to stream at the exact same time also. That it makes it difficult. I would love to watch everyone, but I don't think I have the mental capacity for it.
Right. And I always every day they upload or every time
Mm-hmm.
something is available, I always gotta follow my grumps. I
Mm-hmm.
gotta have my grumps. Let's see. It looks like there was some more chat. I hope his questions got answered. Ruby King had asked earlier how Queen Ellerine came up with her VTuber avatar.
Oh, well, I like elves, and I like fancy dresses, and I like royalty in fantasy worlds, and that's really about it. uh, yeah, I'm ideally in the future, hopefully, uh, if slash when I get a new model, I would like it to be a little less anime and a little more Tolkien. I'd like something a little
Yeah,
more like Galadriel, a little bit.
yeah.
Something with a regality.
I think your
Something
current
very,
avatar also
something very
has.
elegant.
Yep. I kind of think your current avatar also has a bit of regality to her, uh, especially with how you read and do
Oh,
your
thank you.
ASMR.
I
Your
do
voice
try.
matches it.
I do try. It's a little hard when I stumble over my words sometimes.
Oh yeah, I've
Or read the
noticed that
incorrect word.
yep, I've done that with my karaoke
Like, oops.
streams. hmm I've done that with I know I did that when I was reading uh, Animal Farm,
Oh no. It happens.
right? Right, but I mean, like I mentioned earlier, I
Mm-hmm.
did read it in 4 hours. So
You did, yeah, that's true. And let's see.
you
I
were
don't,
reading last time. I remember you were reading when you were doing book streams on Twitch. You were reading The Hobbit.
yes, I'm now on Fellowship of the Ring.
Yes,
And
I remember. Yes.
I'm actually on chapter 8. I just looked.
Okay.
So we've met Tom Bombadil, and I believe they're about to go into the Barrow Downs.
Yeah, when Yukaizoku was a young pup, he did have a friend who was very much into Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
At the time when I was into reading books a lot, I hadn't known about or even gotten anywhere near to wanting to read uh, Lord of the Rings. I
Mm-hmm.
knew of it and that it was quite expansive. It was basically a hefty story,
Oh,
especially
yes.
since when it was published, it was originally one volume, but
Mm-hmm.
the publisher split it into three.
Mm-hmm.
So
I have it
I
in
think
both
the most
forms.
I had read was it was called Chronicles of Amber. You ever heard of
Okay.
it?
I'm sorry, the Chronicles of what?
Amber.
Okay. I don't believe I have. I'm looking it up right
Okay.
now.
Yeah, that was written by Roger Zelazny.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But it was that type of. So I was when Yukaizoku was much younger.
Mm-hmm.
He was much more into fantasy stuff.
Okay.
But now he knows. Now he knows his heart truly adores fantasy stories.
I've always belonged in Middle Earth.
Right. When I saw the movies, and that's what led to me getting the actual book,
Mm-hmm.
the actual trilogy, the original story, Tolkien. The movies were, that was like it felt like uh, coming home to something to find something so fantastic.
Mm-hmm. There's just something about it.
Mm-hmm.
It does have like a very magical, familiar quality to it that
Right?
I know definitely to me, maybe to you. I can't speak for you, but I read it and I'm just, yep, I'm home. This is where I'm meant to be.
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of part of the theme, especially with the
Mm-hmm.
whole Hobbit thing. You know, it is a really very because I haven't. I'll be honest, I haven't read it yet. I think maybe that's what I'll.
That's okay.
Maybe I should do something about that. But I think before I do something about I do that, I would, as I mentioned, I've been wanting to do more book readings myself for my
Mm-hmm.
live streams, maybe. And one thing I want to do is read the Thrawn trilogy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yes, it's been so long since I've actually sat down and read a sci-fi story.
Mm-hmm.
Before I got into fantasy, though, was you ever read mystery novels?
Very, very rarely, unfortunately.
Yeah, there was a time your Kaizokuro was really big into mystery novels. There was a book called Shinju.
Oh, okay.
Yep, I want to check that out, especially if you or anyone else out
Mm-hmm.
there does have an appeal to Japanese culture.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it takes place in the Tokugawa shogunate during the
Oh,
Tokugawa
wow.
shogunate.
Okay.
Yes, so it's basically a murder mystery. Eventually, after all that, I started watching Poirot. Had a real thing for Poirot for a while. You ever heard of Poirot?
I haven't.
Yeah, those were some
There's a
good
lot of things I haven't
stories.
heard of.
Coming back to VTubers, Ruby King on my channel asked another question of you, Queen Lorraine.
Oh,
What made you want to be a VTuber? I know
some,
you covered that with me earlier, but he wasn't there yet.
that's okay. It was just something new, something different to do. I felt like I had been. I felt like I had kind of fallen into the same routine, the same habits, the same old things. And I had made a 2023 bingo card with just a bunch of random things on it, and one of them was to be a VTuber. My original idea. Oh, hello, MT Racer. Hello, welcome. My original idea, actually, before I really thought about it, was I wanted to be a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure VTuber with a stand and everything. I still have the design. I've got the stand as well, still, just because I like him so much. Uh,
That's really cool.
but I did think about it for a little while, and I didn't, especially with Japanese copyright laws. I don't know exactly how they work, so I don't know if I could have gotten sued or anything for it. So I decided not to do that.
Right.
Because
That's
I
understandable.
do know that I think that Japanese copyright laws are a lot more strict than American copyright laws.
Yeah, there is a significant difference.
Mm-hmm.
Ruby King has said it's always good to try out new things.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's
Yes.
that's why sitting not 2 feet away from me is a small harp that I'm planning on learning how to play.
Nice.
Oh, I think the stream is going well, MT Racer. What do you think? We're having a good conversation.
Please excuse me, Queen Ellarine. Ruby made a comment on my chats on YouTube,
Yes.
and there's a joke. As I remembered, he and I rib here and there with each other, and his joke is he's not a VTuber.
Okay.
He's just a regular streamer on YouTube. And Ruby King said that if he becomes a VTuber, his his idea for his model would be a if if you'll excuse me, my queen,
Uh-oh.
it's supposed to be a lolly T Rex anime girl.
Fair.
I'm like, yeah, yeah, that with your voice, that would be perfect. That would be perfectly hilarious.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness.
And then, of course, speaking, because one thing I have, when it comes to being a fan of fans and all the VTuber support,
Mm-hmm.
like you had mentioned, uh, there's not enough, there isn't enough time to watch all of our favorite YouTubers when they're
Mm-hmm.
all streaming at the same time, for example.
Absolutely.
So it's hard to keep up.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I've had, definitely did. It's hard to keep up with because I'm trying to support a lot of indie VTubers via my subreddit on Reddit, and
Mm-hmm.
I happened to, it was a little while ago, what was it? Just last month, Ruby King, if you're there on YouTube, listening in the chat, I mentioned to him that there is an a lolly dinosaur anime girl VTuber, and he wanted to be a T-Rex version. He wanted to be a lolly T-Rex anime girl VTuber. I'm like, yeah, she's also T-Rex. She's a T-Rex, Ruby. You know, her name, I think she's a T-Rex. Her name is Schizosaurus. I think Schizosaurus Rex,
Oh my
actually.
goodness.
Yeah, she's got a cute little design. I believe it's like a blue teal color theme. And she had also just when I finished to find when I kind of started catching her streams,
Mm-hmm.
she was playing Choo Choo Charles,
Oh goodness.
or Choo Choo Charlie. I'm like, yeah, that's a yeah. How's
Yep.
yeah? She I'm like, yeah. It's fun watching VTubers play that sometimes.
I would think. I am not one for pardon me for a second. I'm pulling up your chat so I can do the same thing that you were
So
doing.
just when I right.
There we go. Okay. My goodness. Two going at once. We have become the
Yes.
gamer.
Right? It can be kind of overwhelming. It's like
A
you
little
got,
bit. Two chats.
that's what multiple monitors are for.
That's what I've got two monitors for.
Yeah.
So if you see me kind of looking back and forth, you'll know why.
She scared me. And yeah, I've got a chatter was talking about some people. That's why some people got into VTubing. It's
Mm-hmm.
also it helps. It's one way of being able to actually stream games
Oh
or
yes.
other forms of content without the need for a webcam.
Mm-hmm.
And that was for me as a VTuber, especially after hearing Mori Calliope's inspiring words.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, okay, yeah, just jump right in, as I told you.
And I see that Jessica Pikahart saying
Yes.
Avatar is a way to hide your true self, though, from trolls, and so people don't know what you look like in real life. That is absolutely true. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I do it because then I can just stream in my pajamas and don't have to worry about it. It's the real reason. Exposed.
Oh God.
I can just sit in front of my computer in my pajamas and not have to worry about it, especially with how the light makes my skin look normally. It makes me very washed out looking.
Yeah. There, because as you mentioned, a lot of other than the karaoke, I do a lot of
Oh, excuse me. Sorry.
gaming streams.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and that was kind of why I wanted to get into streaming was for the gaming aspect.
Mm-hmm.
It was, because a lot of the online games tend, especially in what's near when I played after Lich King, right, World of
Mm-hmm.
Warcraft, there was a drop in players. In fact, my primary guild I was part
Mm-hmm.
of during Lich King, uh, it kind of ended up falling apart, and everybody kind of
Oh
going,
yes.
no longer playing.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, by the time I got into Warlords of Draenor, which I enjoyed, I
Mm-hmm.
did enjoy that,
The
and it was
leveling
kind of nice
experience was
bringing
very good.
right, and it was nice actually have taking the opportunity because they did it with a couple of expansion stuff where you can
Mm-hmm.
level up a character or create a character that's immediately at that level.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to bump up my old dwarf hunter that I hadn't played in a while. I was like, well, this is a good opportunity to play him again. I also played my main through it, and I enjoyed it, and could have used some work. Like one thing as I'm getting to, as or was leading to, is that by the time I got there,
Mm-hmm.
I was solo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a very different experience playing through the content of the
I do think
story,
I
on my own compared to when I played it with my guild.
absolutely.
other friends in Lich King.
I do think that was a lot of people's complaints about Warlords of Draenor as well, because like with the garrison, that was just a whole city basically with resources and money making skills and a bank and like an auction house and all these things, and you just didn't have to leave. Oh,
Yeah,
thank you for the raid, Perky. Thank you.
yeah, I noticed that too. That is
I
awesome.
hope you're doing well, Perky. I'm sorry I couldn't join your stream.
Welcome, ahoy!
Hello, hello, welcome. Hello, Perky. That's okay.
So, what other VTubers do you like, Queen Ellerine? I know you had mentioned Shy Lily is one that we both have in common.
Yes, Shy Lily is very funny. I haven't watched her in quite a while. Uh,
Same here.
let's see. Let me actually
But
go.
when it came to independent VTubers and stuff, she was
Mhm.
kind of my first one of the first I found, and
Yeah.
I thought she was rather enjoyable back then, and even today, I still think it's pretty cool to see how far she's made.
Oh,
You know.
absolutely. Let me see who I'm following. Perky. Perky plays games, of course. Uh, I'm also following Malphus VTuber. I really like him. Nixel Mystic, giving some shout outs, I guess. As well as Peachy Lid VT. Where's Aaron Evergale? Lack the Watcher, Eric Van Nicholas, Merkava Vise. Lots of people.
Yep, I've been finding a lot more new ones ever since I got started my Twitter
Oh,
account
really?
for my channel.
Good.
Yes, as I mentioned, I moderate a subreddit for independent
Mm-hmm.
VTubers to help promote them.
Oh, hello, Hakun. Hello,
I
welcome.
figured that'd be nice to incorporate that as part of my VTubing thing, being a Pirate Kingdom
Oh,
author.
yes.
And
Oh,
of course, as you know, I steal memes,
you do. You are the meme pirate.
right? I think you said I was the Pirate King of memes.
Mm-hmm. The Pirate King of memes, yes. I do see in your
Ruby,
chat. Yeah.
yes, did you see
Ruby
it?
King saying, Queen Ellerine, how much did your rigging cost you and what do you enjoy most about VTubing so far? Uh, my model plus rigging, because I got it done by the same person. It was a team, I believe. The Waffle Caramel team over on Etsy. Grand total, I want to say it was about maybe $700-800 for all colorations and rigging.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned
Mm-hmm.
earlier. I'll wait until I'm financially comfortable to
Absolutely.
reach out to artists because it
Mm-hmm.
didn't cost me much for my first avatar,
Yeah.
first full design, which then I used for commissioning my uh, much more full body upper torso
Oh, yes.
avatar. Uh, it was at the time it was affordable to do it that way and just jump right into things like I mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
and and the first one, it was like less than $50.
Oh,
So I
good.
was like, yeah, okay, and that's what I used for I used that to establish my
Mm-hmm.
banner, my profile picture, and then everything on Discord and across social media. And then it took me a while to figure out overlays. God,
Mm-hmm.
that was tough, but I jumped into it. I think the first place I started streaming, I know I have my YouTube channel, which is where I host my animated videos,
Mm-hmm.
and it was Twitch where I actually started streaming for the first time.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, and
And I mentioned
let's
that
see.
because Charles in the chat had asked
Mm-hmm.
about pirate books.
Oh, okay.
Captain Hook had stolen my gold. No, he hasn't stolen my gold. Much like Ron Swanson, I've got it buried in particular locations under the sea, or do I? And and then, however, one of my first streams on Twitch,
Mm-hmm.
going off of Maury Calliope's inspirational words, was I just did a stream where I commentated provided commentary for an actual documentary about
Okay.
pirates. I was watching. I was like, yeah, I can't. Let's. Because I'm sure people are going to want to ask later, and I'm like,
Mhm.
maybe I should do another one.
Oh,
I
and I,
love pirate history.
oh yes. Oh, and I see. And what do you enjoy most about VTubing so far? Uh, that I feel like I don't have to. I feel like in real life, I tend to match the energy of whoever I'm talking to. So I end up being a little more loud and bombastic than I would normally be. So VTubing, I think, lets me be more of my real authentic self, which is a little more quiet, a little more soft spoken, a little more polite and proper, instead of having to match the energy of everyone around me.
I get that.
And Hakun, 800 USD. Oh, I got my 3D for 300. Oh yes, I was able to
Yes.
my model and rigger, because it was the Waffle Caramel team. I love them. They're credited on my page if you want to take a look at them. They're great. Excellent communication. Love them. Uh, it included all 4 of my colorations plus rigging for each one. Oh, and nice chatting with you, Ruby King. You go get some sleep. Have a good night.
Yes. Thanks for being here, Ruby King.
Glad I got
Appreciate
to
you
know
joining your guys'
Good night.
Glow.
Be liking enjoy the stream. Thank you, Perky. Have a good fun game night. All right.
And also, thank you as well, Charles, for visiting. He is
Mhm.
also saying goodnight
Oh,
on in my live chat. So
okay.
thank you, Charles, for being here. Appreciate your support.
Have a good night, Charles.
Yes, I also see Hakun's comment about getting the 3D model for 300.
Mhm.
That's really cool.
Oh yeah.
Yes, always keep an eye out when there's sales going on.
Definitely.
Artists might, because there was one I think just earlier this year. I've seen a bunch of artists, uh, you know, making ads or promoting their content, saying, yeah, they got commissions open. Here's a summer sale. I'm like, oh, okay,
Ooh.
I'll keep you in mind. Next
Mhm.
time you decide. So that was a good way of them getting more followers. Maybe
Oh,
people will pay
absolutely.
attention to when their commissions are open again, etc. And that's also, I think, again, I'm talking Reddit here, but that's also, I think, another good thing about Twitter
Mhm.
is being able to network that way.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
That's the primary reason why I'm on Twitter, for networking, and for it's also a lot easier to communicate with people, I think, over on Twitter than really anywhere else.
Right. Yeah.
Just shoot a message over to somebody or give them a follow, reply to a post. It's very easy and straightforward, as opposed to like getting on Tumblr and trying to find them and hoping that they don't have you blocked. Coming from someone who used to be on Tumblr a long time ago and then has since left.
Well, that same thing about coming to find that you were blocked. It also exists on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
Oddly enough, your Kaizo Cool finally made it there.
Oh
Someone started to block
no.
out. It's
Oh
like,
no.
yeah, makes sense. Good on you. I use it too. That's why it's
Yeah.
there.
Exactly.
Exactly. But
Oh.
then it's just funny that when you do it, it's like, okay, yeah, sure. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
because the one aspect that I find distasteful about social media, which is why I was so hesitant about using Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
because mostly I try to promote my YouTubing content through memes. I
Mm-hmm.
saw a lot of YouTubers doing that. It's like, these are some funny VTubers. That's actually how I found VTubers before finding ones on Twitter, was through Reddit, and a lot of them
Oh
were
yes.
posting memes. Like here on Twitch, I follow Rave
Oh yes, Rave.
Spectre.
I
Yep.
follow Rave.
He's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like his model. And then there was also, who was it? oh my goodness, because it took me a while to find uh her. It took me a while to find her Twitter. As I finally created an account. I think I'll look it up later. But
Okay.
yeah, it was you know the meme. Oh, that's right, Pookie Mayumi. She's here on Twitch and on Twitch
Oh,
and
okay.
YouTube. Have you heard of her?
I feel like I've heard the name before.
Okay. Yeah, because she's like you, Queen Ellerine. She's a princess. She's also royalty.
Oh.
Yeah, she's
Always
pretty
need more
cool.
royalty.
Yep, yep. It's
If I could flip my hair, I would.
yeah,
I
right,
can kind of do it. Let me see. A little bit. And not very well, but
right,
the attempt was there. I've
right.
made my background
It
and
does
stinger
look like
myself and all. That also includes
It
my
is a
intro.
very nice model and rigging that you've
Oh,
got.
thank you. Yes, the waffle caramel team, like I said before, fantastic. Love them. I've made my background and stinger myself, and also includes my intro. I made that in Blender. Ooh, I wish I was that tech savvy. As Kaizoko can attest, I am not that good with technology.
Me neither. It took me a long time just to figure out how to get reverb for my audio
Oh
here on OBS.
it
Like,
happens.
I mean, my
Mm-hmm.
Twitch channel has been around. I think I started it in 2021
Mm-hmm.
when I opened the account and started streaming that summer. And even then, I didn't have. I don't even think I have the overlays I use now, and I've been using these at least for 2 years. I'll
Okay.
just figure it
Oh,
out as I go along.
oh, hello, Orion Pax. Thank you for the follow. Welcome. Hope you enjoy our conversation.
Ahoy, Ryan! As a pirate sailing the seven seas, we navigate by the stars.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least we're supposed to know how to navigate by the stars. And constellations is one way of how to, of being able to navigate in the night with the night sky.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of my favorite constellations besides Ursa Major because it's so large and recognizable.
Mm-hmm. When the skies are really clear, when because I leave for the day job very early in the morning when it's still dark out. So when the sky is very clear and it's still very dark, sometimes if I look up, I can see Orion. It happens sometimes. Not as much as I would like it to, but it happens still.
Yeah, because there are some. It's the same. It's been so long since because Oko has
Mm-hmm.
gone stargazing, but I feel the same way about certain other constellations. I just can't remember them off the top of my head. It's been so long.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that's one thing. You know, take it from me. Go out. Anyone out there listening, if you've never gone stargazing, you at least got to try it once. Just
Oh yes.
jump right in, get yourself a telescope, and go
Mm-hmm.
find someplace nice and quiet. And it's like looking at salt sprinkled across a black tablecloth.
Mm-hmm.
You can see every speck.
I think my one of my favorite descriptions of just like the night sky actually comes from Final Fantasy XIV. It's because it's called the Sea of Stars.
Nice.
And I think that, and ooh, excuse me, my goodness. And I do think that is very apt and very beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Even have my own server in old Dell. Oh wow, Dell R720. So it's 10 terabytes of space and can run game servers and things like that. Very cool. Very cool, Hakun.
Bet it keeps you nice and warm at night too.
it's like your own. It's like your own space heater.
All right. Speaking of big computers, where the term for computer bugs comes from.
What? Where?
Well, back when computers were literally the size of rooms, like
Mm-hmm.
40s and 50s, the computer scientists actually would have to crawl inside the computers and sweep out all the dead bugs.
Oh wow.
Right.
That makes a whole
Computers
lot of
used to be
sense.
huge. Right, and of course it stuck. That kind of lingo stuck when they started actually when it came to bugs in the software where
Mm-hmm.
the coding is incorrect. There's a bug in the computer because
Well,
back the
no wonder.
computers were used to be so good that if bug got in them, they'd stop working.
Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense, actually. Stargazing
It
is fun.
does.
Good binoculars is nice to have and get away from cities. Remote
Yes,
locations
even
good.
binoculars are
Absolutely.
good. You may not have to
Mm-hmm.
spend that much for a telescope. Just pair a good pair of
Absolutely.
binoculars.
And Jessica Pika Hart, thank you for thinking we're awesome.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that comment.
Old radio tube computers.
Yes, the old radio tube computers. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of history, stuff like that, have you, because this is another thing that was trending across Reddit and Twitter and all
Mm-hmm.
of social media, the Oppenheimer movie.
Oh, I haven't
Because those
seen
were
it
the kind
yet.
of computers that they had to use
Mm-hmm.
in order to even do all that stuff back
Oh, I would think, yeah.
then. Yeah. That's the level of technology we had, like even like seriously, when
Mm-hmm.
they talk about that smartphones, like they had like that's the we that level of technology is further advanced than what we used to go to the moon in the 70s.
Oh, yes.
Yes, so it's like a huge gap compared to what they had during Oppenheimer's time. And you said you hadn't seen the movie yet, huh?
That's correct. I
Is
haven't
it
gone
something
out to
that would
I haven't gone out to see any movies lately. Nothing's really
me
been
neither?
kind of speaking to me.
Yeah, same here. But it was interesting to see that they had made a biographical, depiction of Oppenheimer. It was
Oh,
like
yes.
it was bound to happen,
Mm-hmm.
especially with the trend of movies that they were making about because they've been doing. I remember when they first talked about when the idea was first pitched about for Freddie Mercury biopic, and I thought the idea was wonderful. I was like, yes, that
Mm-hmm.
would be so cool to see us, the story of Queen.
Mm-hmm.
Used to listen to a lot of that kind of thing. That's one of my favorite rock bands, other than Metallica, Def Leppard,
Mm-hmm.
old 80s stuff, 70 or late 70s stuff like Kiss, even Twisted Sister.
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah, those makeup bands, they were fun.
At at the day job, we were going to do like a costume contest. We were doing like themed days for about 2 months. It was like every other week. And the very last one was going to be a like a team effort costume. And so we were originally it was four of us. We were originally going to be Kiss. But unfortunately, that did not pan out because
No,
I know because one of the people who was participating in it was like our vice president of sales and he had to meet with people that day and he would have been scaring
oh
everyone.
no,
I know.
that would have been perfect.
I
He could
know.
have been Gene
He
Simmons.
was going to be Gene Simmons.
Oh, well, even
I
well,
know.
oh,
I know.
what?
It was going to be
Totally
amazing.
would.
I know. Oh, hello, Lack. Hello.
You've grown up when you don't even want to. Oh, that would have been so cool.
I
And
know.
it could have been like even like it could maybe I don't know. I guess it depends on the circumstances and
Mm-hmm.
environment. It would have been a cool way of engaging with people. You know, just a little something different.
Oh yes, I think he was meeting with CVS that day though. So he might have scared them
Oh,
because especially because he's a big guy. He is probably 6.5 feet tall. I think he coaches football.
right. Okay.
So it's like
Wow. No,
it would have been amazing, but
it
alas,
would opportunity
I know,
missed.
I know. And hello, Lack. I don't know if you heard me before, but hello, welcome. There are light pollution maps. One can find them online. Oh yes.
Yes.
I'm lucky, I think, in that I live a little south of a big city, and the skies are usually pretty clear.
Hmm. Sometimes even small towns,
Mm-hmm.
you can sometimes you can stargaze from certain small towns if
Mm-hmm.
the light pollution isn't, you know, too high.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you think IRL?
Wow,
I
I'm
had
only six
gone.
feet.
Oh yes, I see what Hakeem said there. Yep. Wow. Um, I gone out. So last time I went stargazing, I went out to the desert. I went on
You.
a road trip to go out to the desert.
Oh wow.
Hmm.
Oh.
It gets cold out in the desert,
Oh yes.
even during the summer.
It doesn't retain heat very well during the night.
Right? You think your Kaizoku would know better, being a sailor? No, no. He had to learn the hard way. But then again, that's how he learned being a
As we all
sailor
do.
too. Hmm.
Oh, it looks like on my end ads are about to start in the next couple minutes.
Okay.
So let's take a little water break.
Yes, I was actually about to bring that up myself.
Yes, let's take a little water break.
Awesome.
And I will be, and we, I should say, so, unless, unless Kaizoku, you want to keep talking.
No,
Either way.
I need to get my drink of water as
Okay.
well.
All right. Let's go get some water. And we will be
Yes.
right back then.
Awesome. Be right back, productioneers.
Mhm. And we're back.
Ahoy! Yes!
Alright, Kaizokuo, I believe it is my turn to ask you a question or two. And we'll see what I come up with, even though I might have asked them already.
It's okay.
Other than what got you into VTubing, what other sorts of things would you like to stream? Also, you're still showing break screen on your stream.
Oh, it might be delayed. Let me double check my other window. Yeah, there's just a bit of a delay.
Oh, okay. Oh, there we go.
Especially with YouTube. Yeah, especially with YouTube.
Oh, okay. Oh, YouTube.
That's one thing I kind of do enjoy about. They both have pros and cons to it. Other content, I think I mentioned it earlier, would be reading more books. Especially I've got a sci-fi trilogy that I've never read that I want to read now because of recent events. And there's a fantasy trilogy that I've also never read that I want to read because of recent events. Well, actually, technically two fantasy trilogies. One of them being Lord of the Rings.
Well, yes. What's the other one?
It's a D&D trilogy.
Oh.
Yes.
I actually used to have several of the Dungeons and Dragons books, but I believe it was mostly the Dritz Dord and stuff. Just because he's cool.
When those were popular.
He's cool. I can't help it. He's just cool. I know he's overpowered. But sometimes you need that.
Right. I'd like to do.
I just want a cool character.
I'd really like to do more collabs with other VTubers and other content creators. Whether it's gaming, a Let's Play, or even a Let's Chat. I think Let's Chats need more attention.
That's true.
Honestly, nobody even uses that term, Let's Chat. So it's like, well,
it's always Let's Play.
If it weren't for Aaron Hansen, aka Eagle Raptor, Let's Plays wouldn't be popular.
Also, hello, Train Chasing Poet. Hello, welcome. Where I am right now, you can see the Big Dipper, Triangulum, and Cassiopeia perfectly. I'm a nerd, but not a D&D nerd. A little too nerdy for you, I think. Maybe. Oh, thank you for the follow, Zelda Boy. Thank you. Also, I just noticed, and I don't know why. There we go. For some reason, I was not subscribed to you on YouTube, Kaizokuo. I'm very disappointed in myself. So that has been corrected.
That's okay. As you may have heard from other YouTubers in the past, some people, YouTube will unsubscribe you from some channels without you knowing.
That is true.
Because I've noticed that my numbers will fluctuate.
YouTube.
Especially when I start getting new subscribers. If I get a huge increase in new subscribers too quickly for what YouTube's algorithm deems appropriate for my channel, then it'll automatically kick some of them off. And then I have to wait a little while before it, quote unquote, validates those new subscribers.
YouTube,
and then my numbers will suddenly come back.
Oh my goodness.
It's a competitive social media world out there. It's all about advertising.
It is, and I don't like that.
Reddit and Twitter are about, especially because the whole purpose, the one thing that they, as you and I agreed on, the one thing we agreed on is that they're useful for networking. What is networking other than advertising?
That's true.
Yes, essentially.
I mostly consider networking just chatting with people.
Yes,
just like, hi, how are you?
Yeah, it'd be nice to have more of that, especially if people, it's like, oh, it's social media. Okay, well, where's the social part? It's nothing but ads. Sure, yeah, you need an economy behind things, and I think one topic I've often streamed about when it comes to content creators, because I think the VTubing trend is, and it's not I shouldn't even call it a trend because I don't believe that VTubing is going to go away anytime soon.
Oh,
It took
absolutely
10
not.
years for it to get where it's at. It's not going away for another at least 10 years.
As long as people have ideas and the passion to do it, there will be VTubers.
Exactly. Because I've been predicting for a while that the next generation of content creation on places like YouTube, uh, it was going to go through a new revolution to bring in that new content age of content creation. I think we're seeing that because I mean, like, everybody knows PewDiePie, right? Yeah, he's been around on YouTube for a long time.
Oh, yes.
Okay, well, in another generation or two, there's every generation will have a PewDiePie essentially, regardless of how long such content creator is.
Absolutely,
Online
absolutely
and has an
true.
active channel, but there will always be another. That sort of thing isn't gone away yet. It's only just begun.
Absolutely. As long as people have ideas and want to do it and have the passion and the drive to do it, whatever it is, whether it's VTubing or art or whatever, it will exist.
Yeah, and there's a lot of VTubers, I'm sorry, not VTubers, but YouTubers that I used to watch, like 10 years ago, that they haven't been around in a long time. It's like they made some good, funny stuff. Do you know the Teehee? The Teehee?
Yes.
Yeah, the guy who had the channel that made that a popular meme and trend for a while. Like I missed that channel. He hasn't been very active in a long while.
Yeah.
But it was just like those were some funny skits.
Yeah, I think like anything also, people just grow out of it.
Right. I mean they've got other passions.
And I mean, like, as an example as well, Felix retired maybe a year or two ago, and he's a father now.
Right.
So first of all, how cool is that? Congratulations to him and Marta.
Yeah. I mean, heck, I was still watching the channel. He was still putting out content when he was retired. You know.
I first started watching him when he played Amnesia: The Dark Descent.
Right, and he was another channel who I frequently, like Game Grumps, would watch, go and watch another channel, then come back. Like for the past 10 years on YouTube, it was flipping back and forth between my favorite channels.
Absolutely. Oh, Train Chasing Poet just. Oh, actually, first, Hakun the Arrow said, if anyone wants a good tip on stargazing software that is free, works on all computers, can talk to telescopes, look up Stellarium.
Nice.
And Train Chasing Poet said, fun fact, the best way to go stargazing is if you're where I am, in terms of immersion and wow factor. Is to take a pickup truck to the middle of a grassy field, park it, and then lie in the bed. If you don't have a pickup truck or just that much of a farmer, substitute the truck for a tractor towing a wagon. Oh yes. Honestly, I would love to do that. That sounds like delightful. Or just lay in the back of a truck. I've been due to where I live and how terrible people drive here, I've been wanting to get a truck. Honestly. But I am also very short in real life, so I would probably need like a booster seat or something.
Oh my god, you just gave me a meme idea.
Uh-oh. It better not be me on a booster seat.
No, there's no booster seat involved, but when you said, when you talk about a truck and then your height, and I'm like, I know a meme that would fit for that.
Oh no. I hope you can see that I'm glaring at you right now, or at least have narrowed eyes. Look out for cow patties, though. Absolutely.
Look out for cow patties. I don't know, unless you're the type who goes looking for cow patties.
A rather peaceful here aside from the National Guard takes its C-130s out.
Wow, really? Yeah.
You're in more of a Midwest area, aren't you, Train Chasing Poet? I can't remember what you said, because I feel like you've mentioned it before.
Say again?
I feel like Train Chasing Poet has mentioned that I believe he's a Midwesterner.
Right.
It's been a little while though. So please correct me if I'm wrong. Mm-hmm.
Illinois.
I am, in fact, originally from Illinois. Originally Midwesterner.
Speaking of Illinois, being a pirate and having a fondness for history,
Mm-hmm.
uh, you know about Cahokia,
Yes. I actually
right?
went there on a school trip.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it wasn't something that it was something that was more recent in terms of learning about history here in the
Okay.
American continent. And when I started learning about it, I was like, oh wow, this is really amazing and impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And it just there's been a lot more recent studies being done about it, and to me it makes sense that there is some sort of connection between these mound builders here in this portion of the continent and comparing them into this with the southern portion of North
Mm-hmm.
America where the Aztecs and Mayans were building their pyramids, because that's essentially what it all is.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Train Chasing Poet just said the only thing I know about Cahokia is that one, it's an Indian burial ground, and two, there's an old power plant there with 6 smokestacks.
Yeah, it wasn't just a burial ground; it was a
Mm-hmm.
whole city originally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's and
I
it's even
believe we did, during that school trip, I believe we did go into the area that was the burial mound, but because it
yeah.
was considered disrespectful to just look down at everything, they had covered the whole thing with like a, not like everything at the bottom, but they had covered just from the railings on down, they covered it with a tarp.
I think
I
it
don't know if it was because it was considered disrespectful or just. I feel like it was, though.
right. Well, there's just so much that it's like what the fact that we don't know
Mm-hmm.
all that missing history. You'd think people would want to have the knowledge of what was all that history brought, be more
Mm-hmm.
talked about, so that people could understand that yes, there was there weren't just the Aztec and Mayans.
Mm-hmm.
There were
Absolutely.
other empires and civilizations, cultures that existed before uh, the, the European colonists
Mm-hmm.
came to the east coast of the U.S. and made contact with the eastern Native American tribes.
Oh, yes.
Because now there's suggestion that that their ancestors, right, that were trading with the empire that Cahokia was apparently the cultural center of.
Oh, really?
Right. And then there's myths and stories from the Mayans and Aztecs. Like you've heard the story of El Dorado, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Absolutely.
the guy that was taking the conquistadors on that trip, marching across the land. They
Mm-hmm.
went from Mexico through Texas. They basically he was leading them toward Illinois. He kept saying El Dorado, it's over the horizon, and eventually they didn't get very far. They didn't even get that far. Eventually, they got tired of him just saying the same thing and leading them across the high horizon toward the east. And then at some point, can't remember where, somewhere around what we refer to as the Louisiana Purchase,
Oh, yeah.
is where the journey ended, and they killed him. Which is the Spanish were fed up with the guy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like maybe that's what was the inspiration for El Dorado. Maybe something like
Likely.
Cahokia.
Mm-hmm.
Who
It's very
knows?
possible.
Right?
But yeah,
Because those mounds are
mm-hmm.
huge.
And regarding your, you had said how basically, like, there was more than the Aztec and the Mayans. I think it's just because those are the ones that we hear about more.
Right?
Those are the
Because there's
ones
more.
that we hear about the most,
Yes.
either in school or just in history in general.
Because we have
So
more
those are the ones
information
people
about
think
them.
of.
There's been more
Mm-hmm.
studies. They've released more information. So, you'd think you'd have the same level of releasing information and studies,
Mm-hmm.
about all these new sites that we're finding not just across this continent, but across the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, good. What? now I'm getting into history. I just love archaeology and history and stuff. And Göbekli Tepe is a site in Turkey
Mm-hmm.
that now shows human civilization has been around possibly for since 10,000 years ago.
Oh, I believe that, definitely.
Yeah, longer than what we used to think, which
Mm-hmm.
was like somewhere around 6 or 7 or 8,000 years ago.
I'd have to check. I have a book where she does the author, she does go into the history of like, it's like a history of like shamanism. It's very interesting. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but I believe she mentioned some tombs that were found that are, I don't know exactly how old they are, but she and I it's like 6 or 7 thousand years ago,
Mm-hmm.
maybe more. I can't remember. The book is somewhere. It's probably on my shelf somewhere.
Well, you do have, from your background, you do have a lot of books.
This is true. I have a small shelf that is near me, like right next to me here.
Mm-hmm.
That is full of mostly bigger books, such as, let's see. Although some of them are art books for video games, so
Okay.
such as Darksiders 2 and Wrath of the Lich King, and then Final Fantasy 14 Shadowbringers.
All
Uh,
right. Yeah, I
I
still have a couple of those
mhm.
walkthroughs and magazine books, featuring uh, some of my favorite Final Fantasy
Mhm.
games. I still
I
have them
love the
too.
art books. The art books are wonderful.
Yeah.
Also have Encyclopedia Eorzea Volume 1 that gave me the Matoya's hat. I love history too, although my area of expertise is more modern. As my name implies, one of my areas of expertise is railroads. Got a great one here, the Chicago, an Illinois Midland, that has a history of exotic locomotives and providing cargo for local businesses.
Nice.
Ooh.
Speaking of history and railroads,
Mm-hmm.
my favorite would be the Union Pacific.
Oh, really?
Well,
How come?
it was just one of those. When it comes to train names, locomotives, uh, that was the one that was most prominent, most
Mm-hmm.
I saw. Just like if when it comes to other history stuff like the Aztecs,
Mm-hmm.
that's what we hear of or see of the most. So it was similar in that regard.
Okay.
Yeah, and of course, railroads do have a significant role that
Mm-hmm.
they played in the history of the North American continent. And they played a significant role across multiple continents.
Oh,
Not,
yes.
it was a big thing, a big deal when they were introduced across Europe,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, after their expansion across North America, they played a big role in Africa. It's an important thing. Trade and networks are a big important thing.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
Hakun said that they're from Norway and there's history everywhere. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I've done a lot of, and of course, speaking of books, that's the thing I love about books is that you can learn so much from them. And they say the pen is mightier than the sword, and knowledge is power. Books are the prime example for both.
The Union Pacific's a classic. They were once known, I think, as the Route of the Giants or something like that because they used to rely on such huge locomotives like the Big Boy and the Centennial.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Ronald. Welcome back.
Yeah, again, he comes back to this side of the collab. Yeah, I see how it is. Yeah, you missed Ruby King, Ronnie D. He was over on the YouTube live chat side. Glad to see you back.
Mm-hmm.
Glad to have you back. I guess it's big. I don't think I've heard of the Ruby Cloud. I don't think that
Just got
doesn't sound
off work,
familiar.
sadly. You made it. You're off work. Hooray.
Hope you had a good shift, Ronnie
Mm-hmm.
D.
It's okay. It happens. Work is
All right,
important,
yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah, but speaking of, since you're here,
Mhm.
Ronald Dragon, let me go ahead and pass Ruby King's message, if I may, Queen
Oh
Elaine.
no.
Uh, Ronnie D. Ruby King said that next week he will be available for the majority of it, so he's going to be having days off now. So we might be able to all catch up at some point. So you don't have to worry about missing everything. Good things come to those who wait.
That's true.
Yep. So keep, chin up, buddy. Hope that good news makes you feel good.
I'm sorry that you didn't have a good shift.
Yeah,
Train
that
Chasing
sucks,
Poet
man.
says, another topic of interest to me is Great Lakes maritime history.
Yeah,
There's so much
I
more to it
like
than
great.
just the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. The Edmund Fitzgerald is my favorite shipwreck of all time.
There you go. Yeah,
Oh, podcast stream.
that's a cool the cool thing and the sad thing about Great Lakes maritime history. It was a big deal in the early days for both the United States and for Canada. All that trade and shipping, and now, of course, the Great Lakes are a tempestuous sea all their own when storms go across. Because there have
Mm-hmm.
been so many shipwrecks and men lost at sea and stuff, and that's some of those I've actually got caught up with a few stories that I never heard of about like sinkings in the Great Lakes through some interesting channels on YouTube. Again, when it comes to content creators, uh, in that vein, a similar vein, have you ever heard of Queen Elaine, the channel called Bedtime Stories?
I don't know if I have.
You might like them. You should check them out.
Okay.
My favorite, especially as a sailor, is their sister channel, Wartime Stories. They had some when it comes to if anyone out there is a history buff, especially on the military history, Wartime Stories has some really, really interesting stuff when it comes to true events.
Okay.
And then my favorite ones tend to involve the fantastical cryptid
Oh
stories.
yes.
Like there was
Oh,
one story about a giant snake in South America.
oh, you have a good stream, Ronald.
Have a good stream, Ronnie D. Thanks for stopping by.
Mm-hmm.
So, what other kind of stories do you like, Leonie?
Uh,
Speaking of books and all that kind of stuff, and
I do
anything
tend
fantastical.
I do tend to lean more towards the fantasy.
Yeah.
Trying to see what else I have on my shelf. Hang on, let me look. I forgot that I had gotten Chris Broad's autobiography, Abroad in Japan.
Yeah.
If you know him from Trash Taste, he's on there
Uh,
sometimes.
uh,
He's really funny. He finally finished
who
his
again?
book. Chris Broad.
Oh, okay.
Let's
Yes,
see.
I know Gigot and
Mm-hmm.
Common. Those are the two I know.
What about Joey? Poor Joey.
Right, poor Joey.
And his
Well,
terrible,
see, I
terrible
kind of
takes.
it was through Trash Taste that I
Mm-hmm.
learned of Connor, and
Mm-hmm.
it was because of Giga that I learned of Trash Taste. I was a big fan of Giga's content on YouTube before Trash Taste was a thing. Kind of like, and it's the same vein. I was into Ego Raptor
Mm-hmm.
before he created Game Grumps. That's because yeah. So I was like, okay, cool. But when it came to between Joey and Connor, I ended up getting more into Connor.
Mm-hmm.
And giving a little credit to the VTuber side, that's also a little bit because of Iron Mouse. So if it weren't for Trash Taste and Iron
Mm-hmm.
Mouse, I probably would have picked Connor because Connor's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Like
Put that back.
and
Look,
I enjoy the memes and the jokes about Connor and Iron Mouse, especially how they bicker and
they
argue sometimes like a married couple.
they have huge sibling energy. It's
That
so
too.
funny. They're so funny. It's like it's like he does any sort of crane game and he sees cinema roll and he's like, oh, gotta get that for my little sister.
Right.
Because I know she loves it. He's only sent her, what, 10,000 already?
God dude, yeah.
He sent her so many. God, I
I love
cannot even think of the shipping costs.
right. I love how Iron Mouse comes back like with stories about what her mom said and
Hmm.
stuff like this. Like, what are we gonna do? Like when they moved and she talked about how her mom had the whole pile of all the cinema rolls.
Oh no.
And she's like, what are we gonna do with these? Like, what are we doing with these? Like, you're gonna have a whole room just for this, all these? Like, it's just like, I mean, like, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, but her story was just
It's
so
so funny.
cute. Having all those cinema rolls, her mom pointing it out. It's like, look at this, look at all these.
I love their friendship. It's amazing.
It is, it is. Um,
Uh, oh,
Goodness gracious,
Halcyon the Arrow
it's
said
so
the
funny.
train chasing poet NSB class 49 nicknamed Doverguben, the Dover Giant, or Dover. Locomotives were 284 steam locomotives used to pull heavy trains on the Dover line. Largest type of steam locomotives in the history of Norwegian state railways. Wow. The closest we've
Yeah,
got
there's a lot
of
of
that
big
here
rail
is the
big trains.
GTEL. It was a gas turbine locomotive back in the 50s. Wow.
Yeah, like
I have a brain more for cryptids and like ASMR than I do for history. I can't remember anything.
what kind of cryptids do you like?
Bigfoot.
Oh yeah, obviously a classic.
uh, Mothman's a classic too. I think.
Mothman's good.
Who else? Uh, well, because I've been listening to the Bigfoot Collectors Club podcast. I love them. They're so funny.
Nice.
I highly recommend them. They recently did a live show for Bigfoot's 65th birthday. I think they had a cake there too.
Did they?
I
That's
believe
cool.
they had a cake. Uh, the
I find it
Who else?
interesting that there's, when it comes to the
Mm.
Mothman stuff, that there is a possible connection to uh, extraterrestrials.
Oh yeah.
Like, okay, when what? Okay, whoa! It's like you get in the rabbit hole
Hmm.
with anything, and then bam, you just keep going down the rabbit hole.
Oh, absolutely. The
Uh,
cryptid rabbit hole is ridiculous.
mm-hmm.
Here we have sea worms. The one in Seliord Lake is the most known. Ooh.
Oh, kind of like
I'm
Nessie in Scotland, and then
mhm.
Champion Lake Champlain.
I'm also a big fan of Icelandic folklore because it's just so weird.
Right?
Such as there's one story. Let me see if I can remember it. There's one story of a girl, I believe, who is, or like a child who is possessed by like a ghost, like an evil specter. And
Mm-hmm.
so, in order to exorcise this evil specter, uh, the family hires a magician. And so the magician goes to a lake, wears gloves made from human skin, baits the hook of his fishing line with gold, and fishes up a very particular and also incredibly poisonous fish. This
Uh-huh.
fish is so poisonous that even when wrapped in several layers of fur and hides, it still cripples his horse on the way back. This fish is then buried beneath the threshold of the home that this child lives in, and the specter is exorcised, never to be seen again. Icelandic folklore is wild. I love it.
Right? Wow.
There's also one of leading
I mean, even
a.
Japanese folklore has some interesting
Mm-hmm.
takes too.
There's also one I think of a sorcerer using a ball of twine to lead a vengeful spirit away from a lake. I think there are just so many strange stories and I love them. There's also
Yeah.
the Icelandic elves and like the Huldufolk,
Mm-hmm.
which includes
Yes.
elves and trolls and their kind.
Yeah, I remember studying up on that because, since we've talked about Lord of the Rings, and
Mm-hmm.
I also write because I did a
Mm-hmm.
poetry stream a while back. think you mentioned you watched it or something.
Yes, I was there for that for a little bit.
And when I wrote my first novel,
Mm-hmm.
because I was inspired by Lord of the Rings, and so because Tolkien based his on a lot of Norse and Anglo-Saxon mythology,
Mm-hmm.
I also studied up on that, and a lot of uh, a lot of folkloric aspects I borrowed heavily from uh, some of the Icelandic
Mm-hmm.
stuff on trolls and elves.
It's very interesting. Believe in ghosts and
Yeah,
much.
so
I
of
believe in
course,
God.
yes, Iceland would have connections, or inspirations from
There are two ghosts of the Peoria Players
Norway.
Theater reportedly. Norman, a playful spirit of a theater director, and a more sinister unnamed entity. And Hakun the Earl Hulderfolk, we have those here too.
Yeah, Hakun said that he's that they're from or in they're Norwegian. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that makes sense because Norway, the Norwegians discovered or settled in Iceland.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty. If I'm not mistaken, from what I've read up, the Icelandic language they speak there is more closer to the original Norse compared to the other Nordic languages.
Oh yes,
that exist today.
Icelandic is very. I was trying to learn to speak Icelandic. It is very archaic. It has not changed very much in the past. Since year 900, when people settled there, it hasn't changed that much.
Right.
Considering the oh goodness, I'm sorry, I'm about to pun. Considering it's very isolated.
Right.
It's a very.
Well, yeah, it is isolated.
It is. Mm-hmm.
It's an island.
Oh yes. It's similar to Old Norse, but it is not Old Norse, but it's similar.
No, I didn't mean it was Old Norse. Mm-hmm. I meant that it, compared to the other languages, it is closer to it than they are.
Yes.
Because due to its isolation, it's not identical or the same. There's even Faroese on the Faroe Islands.
Mm-hmm. Pronunciation.
There's been a lot of influence.
Pronunciations are also different.
Exactly. There is that's why they're considered different, because there is a significant difference in the linguistics.
Train Chasing Poet said, also fun fact, we almost got a film adaptation of The Lord of the Rings starring the Beatles. You can't make this up. It's too good to be made up.
I remember hearing something about that back in the day. They could have ended up with, because there's 4 guys. Mm-hmm. I don't know, Lord of the Rings the musical?
Oh my goodness. Oops. Bumped a can, sorry.
Probably would have been easier to incorporate Tom Bombadil into a live action adaptation.
Maybe. Oh yes, considering he sings all the time.
Right.
He's very sing-songy.
But I mean, if you got the Beatles in the Lord of the Rings, depending on who you cast them as, who would be casted for Tom Bombadil?
Oh, I don't even know.
Right. Hakun said they can understand some written Old Norse.
I used to watch a professor, actually, of Old Norse on YouTube. Jackson Crawford. Okay. He is a very, very interesting man. He used to be a professor of Old Norse at a couple different universities, but now he is mostly on YouTube because he says he doesn't believe that knowledge such as that should be essentially locked in the ivory tower of education.
That makes sense.
He's a very interesting man.
Nice. Yeah, there was a old English YouTube channel on YouTube, or Anglo-Saxon. So it was like, you listen to that, and it's like, whoa, that does not sound like English, like anything close to what it is today. And it was very, in terms of archaic, because Icelandic is kind of archaic. Anglo-Saxon sounds very archaic too. It sounds like you would think German or something.
Oh yes. Train Chasing Poet said, fun fact, Sig Hansen, and captain of the crab boat Northwestern on the Deadliest Catch, is of Norwegian descent. I've seen clips of that.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, look at
Mm-hmm.
his name.
Mm-hmm. I've seen clips of that show. It seems very interesting, but
Yes.
I don't know if I could watch full episodes of it, mostly because I don't know if it would be my type of show. But
Right.
I like the clips. I like the clips well enough.
Yeah, it's good. I used to watch stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
and just because it's a TV to watch stuff. It's on TV, but
Mm-hmm.
it's even then reality TV back then when reality TV first came around, it just didn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's still scripted, even though it's not a there's no script.
Mm-hmm.
It's just okay. Um,
It's a bit like
but yeah, it is interesting to see what a job like that is like. It
mm-hmm.
just for me, I do enjoy learning the historical aspects of
Oh
things
yes.
in that regard.
Uh, I believe my PMs are open. Let me double check though. I might have changed it. I think I was getting. Let's see.
Since you did mention earlier when it came to like books and D&D stuff, you mentioned Dritz Durden.
Mm-hmm.
He's a drow, right?
Yes. Okay.
Do you know where the origin of that word comes from?
I don't think so. Okay,
It
my
shares
PMs
the
should
same
be open
origin
now.
as trolls.
Oh really?
Yeah, in Scotland they were called trow.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, just got it. Thank you. Thank you, Hakun.
Yes, thank you, Hakun.
Ooh, wow. I will read that a little later. Okay. That's okay. I understand.
So speaking of sea worms, though, what if they were real? Because
Mm-hmm.
we touched on cryptids earlier.
I
What if
have
sea
a.
worms are real?
I've noticed actually that I think I share kind of the same sort of mindset of the general population of the Icelandic people, which is just because I haven't seen it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Right,
So who's to say it doesn't exist?
right, yeah, and it took a long time, but we eventually proved that the giant squid exists,
Mm-hmm.
and
Just
that was
because
considered, that's been depicted as far back as sea worms have.
mm-hmm. Just because I haven't seen elves or trolls yet doesn't mean they don't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I have seen I do want to say that there's an entity of some nature, perhaps at my day job. We've seen dark shadows and shadow figures, and it hasn't been just me. It's been other people too. It's been skeptics. They've seen them too. But I don't think he's been seen lately, which makes me think it's connected to me.
Oh.
Which
Are we talking like a gnome or something, or a Bigfoot?
I don't know.
What kind of shadows do we see?
Like a shadow person, like a ghost or something, maybe.
Oh, you actually mean
Yeah,
a shadow person?
yeah,
Oh wow.
yeah. There was
Those
mhm.
stories scare me, especially.
Oh
But
yeah.
I did enjoy bedtime stories when they did an
Mm-hmm.
episode on shadow people. So here's something you could check out if you're interested. Since I
Okay.
mentioned it earlier, that one kind of spooked me. I was like, "Ooh, that's
Oh.
a nice spooky." I
Mm-hmm.
like that spooky feeling. But then it's just like, "Oh wait, what if? What if?" But
There's
yeah,
a oh, what is
it
it?
is. There's a lot of interesting stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Because you also mentioned Bigfoot. I mean, it took 200 years before they proved the. I mean, well, not took 200 years, but it's only been 200 years since the gorilla was discovered.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, who's to say what's out there?
Mm-hmm. I I told one of my friends at the day job that when I go on vacation, I'm going to look for Bigfoot. But I don't know if Iceland has a Bigfoot. I think that's
Just
more
be
of a North America thing.
right. But just be careful, Queen Ellerine.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the term forest bride exists for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Bigfoot just take you out there and like, yep, we go up to the woods.
Oh nope. I don't think I don't think Iceland has any Bigfoot legends.
Right, probably not. But
Train
then
Chasing
again,
Poet
mainland
says, I
Europe
once
would.
thought a grain elevator near an abandoned dog food factory was haunted because I saw it loading a truck one night. Turns out the factory's abandoned, but the grain elevator isn't. Oh, okay.
Ah.
And Hakun the Arrow says, sea worms are a large and snake-like monster that reside in sea or lakes. The creature is usually 10 to 12 meters long, black or gray, and shiny. Some, however, say that they have seen sea worms up to 30 to 40 meters. People who have observed sea worms often describe that they have heads that look like crocodiles, horses, or moose.
Mm-hmm.
Train Chasing Post says, also, I swear there's a ghost in the Lincoln Presidential Library. The lights flash and the doors open by themselves. You know, honestly, I don't doubt it. I've been to the Lincoln Presidential Library. I would think it's haunted.
Well, they even say that
most places are haunted, I think, because just because the building's new, the land's been there forever.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what's happened on that land beforehand.
Yeah, and even some Sterling claims that Gettysburg is haunted.
Mm-hmm.
That even the houses that remain there, that were abandoned, and they've left them as memorial structures.
Mm-hmm.
People talk about how some of those buildings still hear things or hear people in them sometimes.
I do not doubt it, especially with like residual hauntings.
Mm-hmm.
Of just like, I'd have to see what like the proper term is. But I know that there are like,
Hornet.
Oh yes. But like residual hauntings where just like the energy is left. So it's like, say someone like fell down the stairs on Halloween at midnight, as a ridiculous example.
Mm-hmm.
Every Halloween at midnight, you hear that bang still of something falling down the stairs. That would be a residual haunting.
Yeah, I remember some of my first hauntings I learned about were like old Western ones and such.
Hakun the Arrow says, "Oh, I'm going to regret reading this out." Rumdelhosfjorden is located in. Oh goodness, how is the O with the line through it pronounced? I haven't been able to find anything on that. Mora og Romsdal County, and a number of people have throughout history observed sea worms here. One summer or day in 1815, 4 men were on a fishing trip when they suddenly discovered a large sea animal. Like a mooing cow. Okay. So more? Hopefully? Or something
that sounds
similar?
Familiar.
4 men were on a fishing trip.
10 fins. I think I've heard some kind of creature described with 10 fins near the front of its head.
It moved slowly, curved like a worm, and had 10 fins on the front near its head. The sea worm was described as thick, dark, and up to 50 feet long, about 15 meters. The head was huge with a pointed snout. As the sea worm approached the boat, one of the men shot the worm in the head. It dived underwater, but immediately came up again. Then it swam quickly after the boat. The men steered the boat ashore, and when they reached narrower waters, the sea serpent appeared underwater again. Then it disappeared into the depths. Ooh, that's spooky.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me if old or ancient creatures like that still exist.
Mm-hmm.
Heck, there's more suggestions indicating that maybe the megalodon is not extinct.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what's out there?
That's true. Train Chasing Poet says, I once thought there was a ghost in my house because someone would be calling my name at night and someone coming up the stairs. The person calling my name, I believe, was either my dad trying to get me to go to bed or an auditory hallucination, and the thumping was my own heartbeat. Okay.
Ooh.
It's still spooky at the time, though, definitely.
Right. This has been fun.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much for the conversation and for accepting my invitation for
Absolutely. This has been delightful. Thank you for inviting me.
I've enjoyed my time. Thank you.
And I hope
of course, your chatters you know, I've enjoyed all the comments that
Mm-hmm.
they've been sharing.
Me too. This is one of the stories from the link. They've eaten people. Oh my. Oh my.
Ooh.
And Chismo said, I mean, my house has been around since around World War One, so.
Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that sounds kind of
Mm-hmm.
cool.
But yes.
Well, anyway,
Thank you for
if you're
inviting me.
feeling like this is a good time to call it, I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking it's a good one. Maybe we can do another Let's Chat like this sometime and talk about more maybe spooky stuff or cryptids
Ooh.
or any other kind of books and whatnot.
Absolutely. I'll see if I can come up
Yes,
with some good topics for next time.
no worries.
Yeah.
I'm definitely again grateful that you
Mm-hmm.
accepted my invite. Got to share some of the things we like and
Of course.
things that inspired us, and getting to share both of our chats
Mm-hmm.
and comments with each other. So thanks to everybody for being here. Thank you, productioneers on
Mm-hmm.
my end as well.
Thank you,
This has
everyone,
been
so much for joining.
Queen Ellerine Peridot, because you're cool anime agent. Have a good night,
Thank you,
Ellerine.
everyone. Hope you all have a good night. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Good night. Good night.
Bye bye.